All right. Fight Island is finally here. UFC 251. It's a great card. We've all been looking forward to it. I'm certainly excited about it. Great card from top to bottom, especially the pay per view, the five main fights, three title fights, and then including Rose and Andrade, both former champions, and Revis and Paige Van Zandt. I'm excited about that one too. But right now, I'd like to talk about the main event, the welterweight championship between Usman and Masvidal. Of course, the Usman Burns fight fell through, and that would have been a great fight. But the Usman Masvidal fight, great fight on its own merit, and a very different type of fight and a very different story. For one, biggest story here is that Masvidal brings the BMF belt with him. Now, obviously, this is for the welterweight fight, the welterweight title, and Jorge is a contender for that fight, for that belt. He strung together an impressive 2019, took out three high-profile contenders in Masvidal fashion, finished them. And I believe that he won 2019 Fighter of the Year, did he not? If not, he was definitely in the conversation. But anyway, he's definitely a contender for the welterweight title, so yes, I'm fine with that. So is Kamaru Usman a contender for the BMF title? I feel like there are 3 points you got to factor in here. One, anytime, anybody, anywhere. Point two, how genuine is the person in what they say? And point three, their fighting style. Are they looking to kill people? Are they looking to hurt people? Are they looking to finish it? Are they exciting? So those are the 3 points here, I think. And I think the Masvidal embodies those very well. I think there's several guys in the UFC who do. Nate Diaz does, who Masvidal won that belt in that fight. Before I go any further, I'd like to say I understand that the BMF belt is said to be a one and done belt, and there's not going to be a defense of it. But I'm just having fun. I think this is a fun conversation, so I want to have it. So Masvidal, Diaz, they both embody what that is. I think that Conor McGregor embodies that. He's never said no. He's never ducked anybody. He takes on big fights, and he comes in there and shows what he does. To say a couple of guys who maybe don't have the same platform that those three guys have, Mike Perry, I think he could be a BMF dude. I think he embodies it. Sugar Sean O'Malley, I think he embodies it as well. So I think there's all kinds of guys through the UFC who really do have those qualifications and they're fun fights. Now that said, let's look at whether Kamaru has those three attributes. Is he at any time, anywhere, anybody type of fighter? Maybe. I don't know him well enough to say that he's not, but I do kind of get the impression that maybe not so much. Point two, is he genuine in what he says? I personally feel like this guy kind of pushed the reset button every time he says a sentence. He gets a question thrown at him. He thinks, what do they want me to say? Then he says it. Then he pushes the reset button. They ask another question. He'll answer that question the same way. What do they want me to say? Even if it contradicts what he said 5 seconds before. I don't buy that part of him. I don't think it's genuine. He says it. People are ducking him all the time. They're not ducking you, man. Masvidal's taking this fight on 6 notice. It's very much on brand for Masvidal, and that proves to me he's not ducking anybody. He's not ducking you either. And point three is fight style. I personally find Kamaru to be a bit boring. He doesn't finish people very much. He's got, 2 finishes, I think, in his career. The rest of it is very much wrestling based. That said, the Colby Covington fight was amazing. I was very much intrigued by that. I didn't think it was going to be fun, but I loved it. It was an amazing fight, so it seems unfair to call one half of that fight a boring fighter. But outside of that fight, I found him somewhat lackluster. He gets the job done. But as far as a BMF contender is concerned, I don't think he's even in that conversation. Now, I don't want this to be a personal attack on Kamaru because I think there's plenty of very talented guys in the UFC who don't fit the BMF qualifications. Granted, those are my qualifications. I've made them up, and we all kind of have our own set of guidelines. But those are mine. So if you're asking me, should the BMF title be up for grabs as well? It's absolutely not. You got to jump through certain hurdles. That's probably not the right way to say it. You got to be yourself Got to be a little rough around the edges, and you got to be willing to take on anybody, anytime, and try to knock their jaw off. Jorge Masvidal does that, and so does those other people I mentioned, and many more. But Usman is not one of them.